Hi. I am a few minutes early, but I am so happy to be here. I'm in a different location, as you might can tell, and I'm actually already to the live event. I'm looking out at a giant tent where we're having our garden party tonight. So make sure you tune in to the behind the scenes Facebook group so you can see all the fun stuff that we have for you. Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. I missed you yesterday, but we had an incredible day. We hiked in the Smoky Mountains. We hiked the Jump Off Trail, about 6.5 miles, and it was absolutely beautiful. You can head over to my Instagram and see some highlights if you want. I would love to know, let me enable the live transcript, and I would love to know what has spoken to you most so far in the there's my chat, in the week so far. I have loved reading through all your comments on Facebook. We also have a big surprise for you today. Somebody's joining me on live stream very soon. Hi, Stephanie. I would love to know your main takeaways so far. And I want you to know that I know that this is the last teaching of the week, but the behind the scenes this weekend is going to be so good. You're going to hear Tim Willard speak tonight in the Facebook group. You are going to hear Melanie Schenkel speak tomorrow, myself speak tomorrow. You'll just get to see behind the scenes of all the fun stuff. So when you go to that Facebook group, turn on your notifications for that so you'll know when we're live. We have somebody on our team that is just in charge of live streaming all kinds of fun stuff for you this weekend. I also wanted to tell you, I jumped on actually a little bit early because I wanted to let you know that we have a couple of specials that I don't want you to miss. I know you might have seen it in the email, but I wanted you to know that this is the first time we've ever done this. The $37 admission that you paid for this class, we will apply to your first month in Life Mentoring School. So if you've loved this week and you're gonna want to join tonight after you see this behind the scenes, if you're not already running to sign up, but we would love to have you. We're gonna apply the $37 that you paid, so it'll be $60 additional dollars. And you will get to join us in Life Mentoring School. And then, I know, isn't it amazing? Angela, go, go, go. So I think there's a special link you have to use. Angela, can they get both links? If you go to lifementoringschool.com/enroll, one thing that you will see there, and I highly recommend this because we just noticed that the people who do our yearly membership just get such fast transformation. Yay, Louisa, welcome. We're so happy to have you. We've had, I don't know, maybe 10 people join already, and we've really not even talked about it. So I think you can tell that we provide lots of value. We are here for you and for your transformation. If you do the yearly membership, you get 4 months for free and a free quarterly planner. So we would love to have you in either of those ways, either the yearly membership or pay an additional $60, and that takes care of your first month in Life Mentoring School, and you are going to wonder what you ever did without this community in your life. We often talk about it, and we're going to talk about it today because today is all about the surroundings that you set yourself up with. Well, what does that have to do with habits? It has everything to do with habits because you have to set yourself up to succeed. And one of the most important surroundings that you can give yourself is people. People who are here for your growth, people that love you, people that will hold you accountable, people that are living in their true callings as their true selves. And so that is one environment that you can easily change by joining this membership. I've heard so many people say, I don't have people in my life like this. That's why you need Life Mentoring School, because then you get 1,000, more than 1,000 other people in your life like this who want this kind of growth, who are seeking this kind of growth in their own life. There's nothing like it, y'all. And I know that our people who already are in LMS will tell you that this program has been life-changing for them. It's just incredible. You're going to want to be at this live event next week or next year. We do this once a year, and you're going to want to join just so you can come to our live event. But I know that you're going to be blessed by it's a crazy day for us. I'm answering text and watching all of my kids outside. My daughter, my nieces set up the tables, and now I have to answer this text. Hold on. We're at Blunt Community Church. So anyways, I'm hoping that our special guest gets here. I'm sure this person will get here before we finish. So we are so happy that you have been here this week. So thankful for your participation. So thankful for how you've shown up for yourself. Y'all, when you do something like this tells your brain, like, look, we've been going along a certain way. We've been thinking thoughts that don't serve us, generating emotions that don't serve us. And it's time to change. And the relief that you have felt this week, the community, the challenge, the growth that you have felt this week, you can have that all the time. So we would absolutely love to have you. I want really quick, and then we're going to dive into today's teaching. We're mainly going to let our special guest do the teaching, but I want to share with you something really quick for those of you who don't, maybe you are, maybe this week you are brand new to me, brand new to our style of teaching, to coaching. Really, you haven't even experienced that much coaching this week. You've experienced mostly teaching. I have done a little bit of Q&A, but the coaching portion of what we do is so powerful. It's basically like watching somebody get counseling, but even, I think, more powerful. I'm going to share my screen really quick, and I wanted to show you our page where you can go to sign up, lifementorschool.com/enroll. Get the skills and expert coaching you need to get unstuck and start seeing powerful results in your life and relationships faster and easier than you ever thought possible. So if you click that one, that's for the yearly enrollment. For the enrollment where you need to add the $60, the link for that is in your email that you got today. There's so much potential inside you that needs to be expressed and lived out. You are an extraordinary woman made by her creator for an extraordinary life. Ditch the overwhelm, doubt, excuses, and start living the life that you're excited about. We will show you the way. You're worth it. So if you are ready to wake up to your life, we would love to have you. Oh, you have to scroll down for the yearly offer, Angela says. Perfect. All right, y'all. So I wanted to mention a couple of things before we welcome our guest to join us today. And what I wanted to share with you is that your environment, when you think about the environments that you live in, you might think of your home, you might think of the people around you, but it's so much more than that. I want you to think about the music you listen to, the podcasts that you listen to, the places you go, the beauty that you infuse into your life or not. It's really everything. Your car, the way you carry yourself, the way you dress. Like, I want you to think of your surroundings as so much broader than like the actual place you live, because everything in your life affects you. And when you're wanting to make change, you have to become so much more aware of how the people and everything else in your life, how that is either setting you up for success, bringing you life, bringing you joy, or not. Now, that doesn't mean that sometimes you don't put yourself in situations where you know that's not happening and you want to infuse that for somebody else. And I think that is so incredible and amazing. But you do have to give yourself the gift of that first. And a lot of times, I don't think we realize the power of this. We don't realize how important it is for us to do that. So I briefly want to talk about the first one, which I think might be the most important one, which is people. Now, again, we just told you that some of the best people that I've ever met in the world are in our program. So if you're not living in a place where, oh, I'm surrounded by people who are really challenging themselves toward growth and toward living in love and service, you can find that elsewhere. I find that the more that I do this, actually, the harder it is sometimes to find that in your real life. Now, I am blessed because I was raised by the OG herself, the life coach of all life coaches, my own mother. So, my environment when I was young, although there were parts of it that were really hard, I had that in my actual home. And if you don't feel like you have that in your actual home, what I want to encourage you to do is be that in your actual home. You can be the change, the one person that impacts generations, that breaks generational curses, that changes the story of your family. You can be that for yourself. But you also need to be submersing yourself in environments of people like that too. So I want you to ask yourself, like, what is my main input from the people in my life? Who am I listening to online? Who's in my actual life? What's the message? What's the main message that I put in my ears all the time? Some of you, I don't want to step on your toes too bad, but you're kind of addicted to the negativity, right? To the negative stuff in the news, to negative people on Facebook. And although you might say you don't really like that, you keep submersing yourself in that instead of filling your ears and your life and surrounding yourself with teaching and words that give you life, that give you joy, that really ask you to show up as your highest self. I was thinking about this yesterday as we were hiking because I was noticing the conversations, and they were just higher level conversations. People were talking about what they were reading, and people were talking about what they were working on in their lives. Now, obviously we were a group of people who love coaching and who have been in this world for a while. But what would it be like to be surrounded by people who didn't just talk about their ailments all the time, or how bad the world is, or all the negative stuff on Facebook, or the negative political stuff? Like, what would it be like to surround yourself in a beautiful environment like that, by the way? So yes, you totally should go hiking, but also by people who are committed to this kind of living. Like, ask yourself, what are my conversations about? Who am I letting in my ears? What are we talking about? So I want you to tell me in the chat, and I hope this is a little convicting to you because it sometimes is convicting to me. I want you to ask yourself, like, what are you talking about in your conversations? What is it like? What are your surroundings like, the people that you surround yourself by? And then I want to jump to the surroundings, like your environment, your home. We're going to tackle this in the next few months. And I see my special guest here. I can't wait till he gets in here. You're going to probably see us hug and be so happy to see each other. What is your home like? What is it like, the environment that you create for yourself? Do you create a place of beauty and rest and nourishment? We're going to work on this in the next 3 months in Life Mentoring School. It's all about, we follow our hero's journey. And so this section that we're about to begin is called Create Nourishing Routines. And we spend 1 whole month on your home, on the physical environments in your life, getting it organized and beautiful. What is it? What kind of environment are you submersing yourself in and surrounding yourself in? It's so important. And if you want to succeed, and if you want to create a life that you love with your thinking and with the emotions that you generate, how will that translate into your environments, into the home that you create for yourself, in the very environments? Again, what do you do every day? What environments do you put yourself in? I try to put myself in environments that ask me to grow, that, like LMS, environments that ask the best of me, that hold me accountable. Do you have environments like that you can put yourself in? Do you have places like that you can really flourish and develop your gifts and really grow and learn? Now, let me see if he's here. You can come in, Hopi. I think he's here. You probably know who it is. Anybody want to guess who my guest is today? He's going to join us through the end of live stream. You guys are so lucky. You already know. Yes, the amazing and incredible Tim Willard is in the house. Now, Tim's new book is out. I wrote, I know you guys are so excited. I wrote an endorsement for Tim's book, and I can't wait for you to get it in your grubby little paws. It's called The Beauty Chasers, and here's what I said about Tim's book. I'm obsessed with Tim's way of seeing the world. It convicts me and nourishes me all at the same time. We have never needed a book as much as we need this book right now. I'm going to cry when I say this. I'm sitting down and I'm listening. This book is helping me see when the world goes blind. Thank you, Tim, for nudging us a little closer home. Tim is a beauty chaser. He is a C.S. Lewis scholar. He is so committed to this work that he traveled to Oxford and trained for 2 years under Alison McGrath, I think, in C.S. Lewis works and studies. So naturally, those of you who've been following me for any amount of time know that I'm totally obsessed with C.S. Lewis. And when Tim and I met online, I was like, "You're what? You're a what? A C.S. Lewis scholar?" So I think he's outside. Let's see if he can come on. Let me tell him, come on in. I can't wait for you to hear from him. Yay, Patricia. Oh, yay. Anne is reading his book now. It was so sweet to see your endorsement. Oh, thank you, Anne. This is awesome. Yeah, he's pretty amazing. He's here. His wife, Christine, is here. He's actually doing our keynote tonight for our graduation. So one thing that I did, I knew I was getting a book because we ordered some books here, but I went on and pre-ordered the book. Get 2 copies so that you can give one to somebody else and so that you can talk about it together. It just released this week. It's a beautiful hardbound book, and you're absolutely going to love it. Okay, Tim. I hear him talking right outside, y'all. Plus, there's a course, I think. Oh, there is. We'll have to have him tell us about it. Come on in. Hi. Hey. Sorry, we're live.
Hey.
You guys. Here's Tim. Hi,
How are you?
Good. How are you
Good to see
doing?
you.
I'm so happy to see you. Come sit right here.
Yes.
Christine can come in if she wants. She doesn't have to, but
Ready
she
to
can.
come in?
Christine, come in. I just want to make sure they can see you. They all guessed, of course, that you were going to join us for live stream. They guessed my special guest. They're all saying hi. I actually just read them my endorsement of the book.
Oh.
And told them how amazed I am at you and being a C.S. Lewis scholar. People who have followed me for a while, it's all I ever talk about is C.S. Lewis.
I know, you put
quotes all the time.
I know.
And to be in the I don't know if I told you this, but the people who are graduating tonight as Christian life coaches have to read The Great Divorce as part of their curriculum.
That's a crazy book to have in your curriculum.
I know.
What do you talk about with it?
But you know why? Because my coaches will encounter people, and I want them to imagine that they're encountering them in heaven.
Oh, okay.
What would it be like to encounter them, to see themselves in the people?
Sure.
You know, he describes different kinds of people, and to see themselves in all the people, really.
Yes.
You know, we're all the characters.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We're not just the ones, the beautiful one at the end that we all love to think, oh, I hope I'm her.
Yes.
No, we're like versions of all of them.
Yeah.
And I know they have a hard time with the book, and they're always like, this is such a weird thing to read. I'm like, read it 10 more times.
It's a hard thing to read, too.
I know.
It's bizarre.
I know.
It's a nightmare, right?
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
Yes.
But in the most beautiful way. So I'm so happy to have Tim here. And those of you who
Sorry
are
on
coming.
my hair, everybody. I just came from outside. It's hot.
It's really hot here. Yeah. Those of you, there are people here who are going to be at our live event. Some of my regular students are on here too. So they're going to get to hear you tonight.
Yes.
But I want you to give, for all of those who aren't going to be here, tell us a little bit about how the book came about. We've just been talking about, this is why I wanted to have you on today.
Yeah.
We've been talking all week about elevating your life. So the first day we talked about elevating your thinking to renew your mind, transform your life by renewing your mind. Tuesday we talked about the power of generating the emotions that you want to generate in your life. And then we talked about just generating the energy and joy that you want to bring to your life. And then today we were talking about how important it is when you're trying to live in a different way or have new habits that really nourish the life you want, to surround yourself with beauty.
Yes.
And in environments that inspire you.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, so-
I thought this went perfectly.
Yeah,
with that.
no. Well, let me give you a little story. So,
Okay.
what I've been telling, as I'm doing these little beauty chats, all over the place, I'm telling people the story of how this really started like 10 years ago. Well, maybe like 8 or 9 years ago, when we moved to England. It was a big step for us. We were living in Atlanta at that time.
Okay.
I had just finished at Gordon Conwell Theological Seminary, but felt like I needed more. And so the PhD was like kind of out there. My wife's like, "There's no way I'm moving over to." At that point, it was St. Andrews I was trying to get into, and she's like, "There's no way I'm taking an infant there and 2 young daughters, all under the age of 5." So I shelved it for a while. Then the opportunity to work with Alistair McGrath came up. And we had to face a big decision. Like, do we? And we thought it was going to be that we could go over there, or sorry, stay residential and just go over there a couple times because I had that flexibility. But we had to make the decision to like actually go and be there. We had to be on site. So what happened was, through a course of events, and I won't get into all the story. It was really God, but like we had to sell our home, we had to sell our cars, our furniture to make it all happen and go over there on faith. And what happened was the first couple months being there, we had some money to buy a car. We didn't know if we should do it or not. And I was out on my bike one day. I came back. I go, I don't really think we should do a car. And Chris was like, "Are you crazy? Like, what if something happens to the girls? We have to go to the hospital, all that stuff." And I'm like, "I know. I think we should do things differently." And what happened was we had to rely on the bus system. We had to do walks. And our life, it might sound simple.
But it changed everything.
It changed everything. Like, there was no more Saturdays running to Costco just to go to Costco.
Yeah.
There was no more running about, and Lewis calls it annihilating space with your car, or rushing about, right? That's what he calls it. And so that kind of, that way of life kind of started transforming us over the 2 years there, and we actually started calling it our Oxford Rhythm. And so we try to use that when we came back. And I remember being back here, like the first week back after being there for 2 years, and a slow pace. We were in the countryside. We went for walks. We, instead of deciding to go out and do things, we stayed as a family or went on walks as a family.
Yeah.
So those little decisions really changed us, and we still talk about it, and we still go, "Hey, how's our rhythm looking? Are we surrounding ourselves with great people? Are we doing?" Yeah, and it's true. Like, even over there, we had people who spoke into our lives, who challenged us, which I think is super important.
Yep.
And just being in that program, being with Alistair McGrath, well, that was a challenge for me. But then it also challenged Chris, and like she was able to get in the conversations and learn the stuff that I was learning. But then also like there's this one time I was asking Alistair a question in one of our sessions together, and this is a very English thing, but I asked him this question. He goes like this, and this is gonna be awkward, but he goes, "Well, Tim, I shall have to think about that." And I was just like, sitting there going like this, like waiting, and he's like,
Sounds like how I think Lewis would be, though.
"Yeah, that's exactly right." He's like, "I should have to think about that." And I was like, just so floored because, we want answers. We want information over here. And he was so content to look out the window. And he looked out the window and he just sat there. And I'm like, this guy, this is different. Something about this is different. And he's like, "Have a think." And then one summer I was there, I was doing some research on what Lewis called northernness, which was his love for like Nordic culture and literature.
Yes.
And Alistair goes, "Tim, why don't you take this summer and have a think on that?" And what that means is just diving deep into something and exploring it. And I was like, okay, so this whole idea of having a think means to meditate and reflect and take your time and dive in. And those kinds of things are the things I have come to cherish, and it's part of the Oxford Rhythm that Chris and I have. So it's the idea of like I hope this is answering your question, but like
yes,
the idea of like changing the rhythm of your life, and it's a hard decision. Like for us, it was not buying a car, and that was a big deal. And it was really big for Chris being a mom, but we did it, and we loved that we did it. And then the girls got to be on the buses. They got to walk around with us. So it changed our perspective. And I think when you make those little changes with people, with your rhythm of life, your perspective starts to shift, and then things start looking different. You start looking at the world differently. And that's probably one of the biggest things of coming back was like, hey, let's just stop rushing around. So I don't know if that helps you, but
I love it. I love it.
yeah.
I love it.
And go ahead. So
one of the things for people who don't have the book yet, it just came out Tuesday, right?
Came out Tuesday,
It came
yes.
out Tuesday. We are actually giving our coaches a copy.
Awesome.
So
yes.
we're really
It's so cool.
We're really excited.
I'm excited
about
about that.
So I'm going to read you this foreword, and then I have a couple questions for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Beauty can change you. Let me let you read it. Can you read it?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
are you sure?
Tim will read
I
it.
like hearing you read.
No, I like hearing you read.
As we both put on our glasses.
Yes.
today.
I like yours. Caddis? No.
Yes. Yes.
Yep,
Oh,
love
yeah. I have a new pair of caddis too.
Nice.
Okay, this is a note for the curious. Beauty can change you if you let it. That's what the path of life has taught me so far. Beauty changed me. It still does. But don't worry, this isn't a book about sitting on beaches or mountain roads watching the sunset or meditating in art galleries, although I have done and still do these things. The idea of chasing beauty is about pursuing a lifestyle that goes against the cultural grain of busyness, loudness, and naked ambition. You know, the kind of ambition we're told we must have in order to find success in this cutthroat world. My relatively short life has taught me that beauty chasers are thinkers and listeners. They see when the world goes blind. They embody quietness when all the world wants to do is scream. They promote the good of others when the world says to promote yourself. They give life to others when the world seems hell-bent on killing. Beauty chasers live their lives to a different cadence. They walk the path less traveled. If you're interested in these things and you're willing to risk change, then read on, my friend.
Oh my gosh. I love it. I love it. There's so many things that I love about, and I meant it when I said, I love how you see the world. I feel like there are very few people who want to see it the way we choose to see it.
Yeah.
And I think it's so much of a gift. And I think once you do it, in whatever way, for you it was going to Oxford. For me, really, my change really started when I looked at my past and I saw a lot of hurt and loss, and I decided to rewrite the story.
Yeah.
And once I rewrote that story, I thought, I can rewrite any story. God can rewrite
Absolutely.
any story if I see
Yes.
it through his lens, right? And I think for our people, often what happens for all of us is life just gets hard and busy, and you just get into
does.
a rut of
Yes.
not seeing, not slowing down, not doing life in
Yes.
the Oxford rhythm.
In the Oxford rhythm.
Yeah, and not being intentional about how you want your life to go, how you want to experience it. I think people feel like we're just at the effect of this crazy world that we live in. So for those people who struggle with that, and they're like, I know I want something different, what do you feel like is a first step or some kind of tangible way for people to start?
To start seeing the world differently.
Yeah.
I really think it comes down to, you have to be willing. First of all, it's a willingness. I feel like if you want that, a lot of people want to change things in their life, whether it's being fit or losing weight or learning a language. But all those things take a first step. Like even with my daughter with Latin, like my 14-year-old, she's struggling to really want to do it. But I'm like, if you actually start taking the steps of discipline to do it, you will get to a point where it becomes a love.
Where you love it.
Yes. And so I coach actually varsity ladies volleyball. I'm actually coaching again. I coached early in my marriage. And one of the things I taught junior high girls first. And so at that age, and parents want to win and whatever. And I'm like, you know what? My job here is to teach these girls how to love the sport. I want to win.
Yeah.
But like love will get you to win.
Yes.
So that's the main, and that's a philosophy. It's a philosophy of volleyball, but it's a philosophy of life. Like,
Yeah.
if you can start doing something that you love, and it might be different for everybody, and don't feel like you have to like, well, I can't do this. I can't, I don't like a treadmill, or I don't like this, or try something else.
Yeah.
You can just try something else till you find what it is that you love. Like for me, forever I wanted to do martial arts since I was little, and my parents never let me. And so then the opportunity came to do it with my daughters, and so for me, mountain biking and Taekwondo has become what I do for fitness, just like
Yeah.
CrossFit for you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be CrossFit. It doesn't
Right.
have to be Taekwondo. It can be whatever it is that you want it to be that makes you fall in love with it. And I think that's the first step. You can find something to change your perspective. And I also think like, how we talk to ourselves. You talk about this a lot. And
Yeah.
I think John Maxwell said this a long time ago. I think I remember. Did he say stinking thinking?
Yeah,
Was that
I think
him?
so.
Okay. It's, how we talk to ourselves. And we are in a culture, and I may step on toes. I don't know. But
I always do. It's fine.
we live in a culture. Good. We live in a culture where it's like we talk, and brokenness is everywhere. Pain is everywhere. We all have different.
That's a given.
It's a given. It is a given.
This that you're talking about is not a given.
Not a given. And you can, but it's a choice.
But it's a choice.
So that's the first thing. I think you can either choose to live in the brokenness and the pain, and I understand that, and work through that, or, and I actually talk about this in the book, and I think I say the same thing. Like, sorry if I'm stepping on toes, but like, the broken pieces idea or the perspective, or even, what I don't like, and you may say this, I'm sorry if you do, but like, the beauty in the ordinary. I understand the idea, but like I don't see the world as mundane or ordinary. If you see it through God's perspective, everything, and from a spider web, which Jonathan Edwards talks about in his writings, that's how he saw God and the beauty of God.
Yeah.
And he started seeing God as somebody, as a grace giver, a beauty giver, as a source of beauty. So it's a perspective shift.
Yes.
And you have to open yourself up to that. One of the things that I love, it wasn't, who was it? Arthur Greaves, or one of C.S. Lewis's friends, said that Lewis loved to take walks in the morning. And Lewis, to kind of open his eyes to the world, he would do it in the morning, and Lewis said, I don't want to expect anything. I want to be delighted.
Yes.
And I think when we can open ourselves up to just what God wants to teach us just from being outside. And I know it sounds simple, and I end the book, spoiler alert, with like, maybe it's as simple as going for a walk. Because going for a walk is so profound, because it can open you up to delight and joy. And then if you are letting it there, but if you're focusing on pain and focusing on the brokenness, which we all have, it's the given.
Yeah.
That's where you're going to be.
Yep.
But if you take a risk and you step out and go, you know what, I want to see things differently. I'm going to make choices that might really challenge me. That's when things really shift.
So good. Yeah. I taught this, I think it was a couple of weeks ago. I was doing a class on joy. And my main point was pain and heartache and suffering is the given in life. Joy is not the given.
No. Joy. So I love that you talk about joy, by the way, because like in my dissertation, I came up with what I called Lewis's language of beauty. The idea, and I might get into this tonight too, but like when we see something beautiful, as Lewis talks about, like he would look at a currant bush when he was a boy, or Nordic literature, or all these things. The beautiful thing, or the moment, or the event of beauty, elicits the response that I call an aesthetic gasp. Like we go. Yep. Right? And that's what Lewis calls the joy. And actually, William Wordsworth, the line "surprised by joy" is from William Wordsworth. Yes. And Wordsworth was writing it when he saw like I think it was a sunset, and he had this like moment of like, wow. And it's the joy moment that gives birth to longing. And actually, joy is also a signal of life. I love this. And we talk about joy like, happiness and joy, and like, joy transcends all circumstances. But like, what is it?
But what really? Right.
I feel like joy. I'm sorry, guys, I have gum. I was going to throw it out before I'm almost swallowing it. But like, joy is like, I feel like the Christian especially, the signal or like the mark of the Christian is joy.
Yes.
And you know what? And I talk about being stoked all the time, and that's just probably how I made a lot. But like, I feel like as I grow into Christ and into God's love and understanding of His love for me, the joy meter keeps going up, and I wake up like that. And now I have lows and highs. COVID, there's some parts in COVID that was lows, hard. I mean, I think everybody experienced that.
Yep.
But like always the joy, because it's found outside of ourselves, and it's a signal of life. Even like in the Psalms, it talks about how the oxen moves its head. And that's actually the concept, that Hebrew concept of joy is that it's this life, it's almost like a life gesture of like a praise almost, or like when Jonathan's eyes brightened when he ate the honey. That's actually the concept of joy too. Wow. So these really cool things of like, a coming to lifeness is joy. And how do you get joy? I think you open yourself up to beauty, and you open yourself up to wonder. And The idea that we can experience wonder gives us joy, and wonder being in God's one of the main. There's four categories I talk about. I'm going to probably mess them up right now, but we experience beauty in art, in people, and then in the landscape, and then also in the charms of life. That's why when I say there's no mundane, there's no ordinary, the charms of life is something Lewis talked about that actually Arthur Greaves taught him, like a well-made table, or like a nice gift bag, right?
Yes.
A nice gift that's beautifully done, that elicits joy. Those things, we experience beauty in all those things, and then from those things also comes joy. So the joy of together, there's joy in togetherness, like coming tonight, there's going to be a joyful thing. I always talk about being around a table, or when people have us over for food or whatever. I tell the story of fishing on the Nushagak in Alaska with a friend of mine, and him calling back to his wife saying, "Hey, we got some king salmon. Get the grill ready." And so we get back, in this tiny little bush town, all like converged on their house out of nowhere. Like they just invited themselves over, and we're grilling king salmon. And I'm standing there looking. It's almost one of those things where you're like in a movie, and I'm standing there. I'm hearing laughter. People are drinking beverages, and they're eating great food, and they're laughing. I'm like, this has to be what heaven is like.
Yes.
And I was like, and it was beauty. It was a beautiful moment, and it was the joy of that. I still talk about it. That was like 7 years ago, and it's one of those things where I'm like, yes, this is joy. And so we need those moments in our life. So another way to do it is have those moments in life, or curate them.
Yeah. It's so interesting.
Sorry, I'll just keep talking. You got to shut me up.
I love it. One of the reasons that I have my coaches read The Great Divorce is because I love that passage in that book where Lewis talks about that when we get to heaven and we look back, heaven would have started when we opened ourselves to the joy, when Christ came to us and we opened ourselves to the joy, that heaven will reach back and redeem all of that.
Isn't that crazy?
It's so amazing. So I love the thought of bringing heaven to earth, that joy. We are the ushers of bringing it to earth.
Yes.
Because everybody else is consumed with everything that's going wrong. And, I was just talking to them about, you can fill your mind with all the people who make you mad on Facebook and all the political stuff that you hate. You can fill your mind with that. Or you can just decide, no, I usher heaven into earth, and I surround myself with people and music and surroundings and things that aid in that.
Yes, yeah.
Right?
I like to call it heaven culture.
Yes.
We, people talk about like creating culture, whatever, but I feel like we are ambassadors of heaven.
Yes, and already here now.
We are already doing it. So like, if you can and that's a perspective. Like to your point, like that's a change in perspective. I can either choose to get consumed with Facebook and all these, and I always tell people I'm not political, and I refuse to get into it because it's so divisive right now, especially in our world.
Yeah.
And leave it alone. We don't need to talk about that all the time. Bring something of heaven. Actually, that reminds me of one of my professors in seminary. He said we were talking about Sabbath, and he actually said, a lot of people it's kind of become popular to start doing Sabbath again, Shabbat, right?
Shabbat,
and that's fine. But he goes, technically we're not bound to do that.
Right.
And but he goes, here's how I would tell you how to define Sabbath, is bringing heaven to somebody else.
Yes.
Isn't that so cool?
We don't need the ceremony of it.
You don't at all. That opened my whole, I remember going,
we are Sabbath.
Yeah.
Christ.
That's a great way to look at it. That changed my whole mind. I was like, what? And so now I see, whether it's Sunday or Saturday, whatever, as a time to bring heaven to your family or to your friends. Or he talked about it actually in his church. He would try to serve the other pastors.
Yeah, like Christ is our rest, and we can become that rest to people who are weary. I love that.
Yes.
I remember I don't know if it's when the Ukraine thing was happening, but there was a post that you wrote on Instagram. By the way, if you don't follow Tim on Instagram, you're missing out. Is it just your name, Timothy?
This is my name, Timothy Willard.
Timothy Willard on Instagram. But I remember you posted something about and I think they're in the background. I remember maybe it was on stories, but in the background you were painting something. And it ministered to me so much because it reminded me of a C.S. Lewis quote when he was talking about the war. And he's like, yeah, we can all hide in our houses, or we can paint and write poetry and love people and have a pint and play some darts.
Yes, absolutely.
Like we can do the things that God called us to do.
Yeah,
right?
I remember that post, and I think I did. That was a story that I did a post after, but like he talks about because he was in war. He was in war.
Yeah.
He actually fought in a war. Then he lived through World War II, and we can choose. It's a choice he's talking about. You can either choose to like live in fear that we're going to die or whatever is happening in Ukraine or Afghanistan or those things that were crazy.
Yeah.
Or you can get to work by doing the thing that's in front of you. And like what you're saying, being heaven to people or choosing to engage in something that's beautiful. And it's as easy as, like I said, taking a walk or picking up a brush or whatever it is that you do.
Yeah.
Making
some sourdough.
Making sourdough, yes. And we're going to have a competition this coming year on sourdough. You can do whatever. And sourdough is something I had wanted to do forever. And my lovely sister-in-law, who had I think an Amish or Mennonite recipe, she gave it to me, and I messed it up a lot, and I got it great. I'm like, yes, and it just became something that was a joy to me.
Yeah.
And now Bree's doing it, my middle child.
Amazing.
So those kinds of things, even with the girls, like, and that's something else, like with kids. People are always like, hey, Tim, how do you talk about beauty with your kids or bring it into your home? I'm like, all you have to do is start talking about it at first. I remember when Lyric was, I think, 7, and we were still in Oxford. We went for a walk, and we talked about imagination. And I did it on purpose. But she was just, all I did was like, what does that tree make you think about? And then she would talk about the tree. And then she climbed the tree. And then we were looking at the clouds because the clouds in England are wonderful. And they just kind of, it's an island. So, they move around, and they're backlit by the sun. And we started talking about like the wonder of clouds, just simple little things like that we started talking about.
Yeah.
So
helping them notice.
Helping them notice, and then it gets inside of them. Then they start actually wanting it and being inside of it. It's really cool.
So amazing. Yeah. You guys, I hope you're coming tonight, or I hope you're going to tune into the live stream if you're not coming.
Oh, you're live streaming it tonight?
Tim is going to bless us only to this group.
Oh, okay, very cool.
To the people who are in the challenge. So only to this group, but we're really excited. Thank you so much for being willing to come. So tell everybody, where can they go?
Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Some people have bought it at Target, they said. So really wherever books are sold online. I don't know if it's not in Target, but you can get it online at most places. Yep. So,
awesome. Yeah. And if you're one of our coaches, don't buy it yet. Buy it and give it to someone else, actually. Go ahead and buy it and give it to someone else. I pre-ordered it, and mine didn't come. I pre-ordered it like 2 months ago. It hasn't come yet. So when I got here today, I'm like,
oh, my word.
I'm so
it hasn't
excited.
come and you pre-ordered it?
Yeah. I mean, most people, I talked to some people who said, no, mine came already. There were some people on our hike yesterday.
And you should have
pre-ordered it.
There's a warehouse problem going on, and none of the endorsers have it yet. They were supposed to get it, so I'm very sorry.
No, I was so happy to see it today, though. All right. Thank you, Tim.
I'll leave you.
Okay, honey. Thank you so
guys.
much. All right, y'all. Wasn't that so fun? I'm so happy that you got a little taste of Tim. Oh, yay, Mary. You just bought it on Audible. So awesome. Yeah, he's amazing. And I'm so happy you got to hear from him. Support him, his book. He is author, theologian, scholar. This is his full-time work, so I love supporting their family, and I just love him. And I can't wait to meet Chris. I haven't gotten to meet his wife yet. We chat on Instagram, though. You're so welcome. I know, isn't it life-giving? He's amazing. All right, y'all. So that concludes the challenge part of our challenge. Make sure you do your homework today. Make sure you join us in Life Mentoring School. We would love to have you. And then don't forget, turn notifications on for our group. We will see you tonight and tomorrow. The keynote tonight, we start at 6:30, I think. I'm guessing the keynote will be around 7, something like that. So join in tonight, and then tomorrow you'll hear from myself, Melanie Schenkel, some of our coaches. It's just going to be so, so fun. Yes, by the way, thank you, Angela, for that. Because we are entering into the section of our curriculum where we work on habits, we are doing a 31-day challenge of creating nourishing habits. So if this has gotten you motivated and inspired to jumpstart the journey of what you want to work on, how you want to change your life, like Tim was talking about, how you want to create nourishing rhythms and habits for yourself, we would love to have you join us in Life Mentoring School. We'll be doing 31 days of nourishing habits, and we're so excited. Do we go to Facebook to watch the live stream? Yes. The live streams that we're going to be doing this weekend, the behind the scenes, will not be on Zoom. Those will be in the Facebook group. So if you haven't asked to join that, you should. And yes, my favorite quote that Angela ever gave me is this: magic will happen when you have a coach and community. Yes, it will. And we can't wait to welcome even more students into Life Mentoring School. We love that program. That program is designed in 12 month. I think I showed you a little bit of it, but it's designed so that we cover a different topic every month, but they're kind of grouped into themes. So we start at the first of the year with committing to growth. We talk about mindset, emotional wellness, and growth. And then we do connect with your why, which is what we just finished, where we talk about identity, your identity in Christ, your relationships, your mothering, parenting, nurturing, your marriage. Now we're entering into creating nourishing rhythms with your health, your money, your home, your time. People love this section that we're entering into because it's so practical. And then we finish the year with goals, with calling, your future self. And let me tell you something, y'all. You get all of this, all of these teachings as soon as you join. You get access to all of it. If we join at the $97 a month, do we get a planner? You can buy one, Brooke. I think we still have some to buy, but you don't get a planner for free if you join with that. And remember that because you joined the challenge for $37, we have a link at the bottom of the sales page where you can pay $60, and that will be your first month. Contact Angela, and she can let you know. Her email is lifeandgraceva@gmail.com. She's really busy this weekend with our live event, so we may not be able to get back to you for a day or two, but we can help you. Yeah, you have to be an LMS to buy the planner. So as soon as you join, let us know, and we will give you the link to grab the planner. All righty. Thanks for joining this week, you guys. We are so happy you've been here. Can't wait to see you on the live streams in the Facebook group. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope you enjoyed having Tim on. He is such a blessing. Can't wait for lots of you to read his book. All right. We'll see you soon. Bye.